Welcome to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, as Dallas and I are here to announce our next big move, biggest move we've ever made for Revival Today. Behind me is a building that will look nothing like it looks right now when we finish. We're on just under 5 acres of property that we've just finished purchasing, which is going to give us the ability to have a state-of-the-art studio. And in that studio, something I've wanted to have for a long time, which is a live studio audience. It's going to be a 500-seat building when we finish with it that'll give us the ability to touch the world with our broadcasts. This facility is going to give me the ability to do what I've really missed, which is having you in the audience to minister to personally. Obviously, you can't beat the reach of digital media. We touch the whole world every day, but we have the ability now with this to lay hands on people, pray for people that are sick, a place where you can bring people that are drug addicted, demonized, and really give them the ministry that you can't get on YouTube and Facebook. I can't wait. And then beyond that, we're going to announce the launch of Revival Today Church. We're going to hold Holy Ghost church services every Sunday morning. I'll be there most Sunday mornings. This isn't going to be like some little side project. We're going to give you and your family a place you can go that's a soul-winning church that values the presence of God, where you can get prayed for and ministered to, where there's not a critical race theory lecture or a mass and social distancing 10 minutes of no talking to anybody in the lobby. None of that. We're going to have a place where you're free and where you're free to experience the presence of God.
I'm incredibly excited because I know a lot of you have been asking about different meetings and events that we couldn't have during COVID, and trust me, we tried so hard. So this really frees us up to do everything that we want to do with healing meetings and women's conferences. So I am so looking forward to seeing you and having you be a part of this.
So I want to give you a twofold call to action. Number one, if your church turned in to a liberal nightmare in 2020 and you need a place to go, I would be happy to have you at our church. Number two, if you are a partner or a friend of our ministry, Revival Today, this is the biggest move by far we've ever made. By the time we finish remodeling that building, the acquiring of the property, you're looking at a couple of M's. So if you would stand with us now, I'll say thank you ahead of time. Pray and ask the Holy Ghost what He would have you to do. You've been so generous, and I thank you ahead of time for your extreme generosity. I know I speak on behalf of my wife, everybody here at Revival Today, when I say we love you very much. And now I can say I look forward to seeing you face to face here at the new home of Revival Today.
Hey.
All I do is win, 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 no matter what.
Good morning, everybody. Markets are open. Everything is looking up. Everything's in the green. Welcome to Check the Markets. Sandra, Ava,
Someone's watching from the Philippines.
Stephanie, AJ, Joshua. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Make sure you share the broadcast. We got some interesting stuff today. Looks like Subway's been lying to us all along.
About their bread. It's not real bread.
Nope, not about the bread.
Oh.
Even worse.
Their bread smells like toe jam. I can't get past the bread, the smell of the bread.
Have
you ever been to a Subway?
Well, now I can't ever go to Subway again.
Now the next time you go into it, you're gonna start smelling that bread, and it doesn't smell like bread. There's nothing like the smell of bread. Homemade bread. Have you ever smelled like that? There's just nothing like that bread. And then there's Subway bread. It's toxic
compared to like a bakery in Europe.
Oh, no comparison. None. Like I said, it smells like toe jam. So I can't wait. Subway.
Yeah.
Eat fresh.
Let's see the article. Pull up the Subway article right away. We gotta.
Let's get right into it.
Subway is chewed out after lab tests find no tuna DNA in its tuna sandwiches.
Sorry?
So what is it?
What is tuna? What is the tuna?
I've eaten tuna sandwiches from Subway before.
I bet it's sawdust.
Something.
Oh,
Who knows?
So unsettling.
What?
First of all, who goes to Subway for a tuna sandwich? Let's be honest. Oh, Lord. Oh, no. Like, you know what? That does a number on my already sensitive stomach. Yesterday with the fart noises. Wow, that is awful. Oh, gosh. I gotta stop that. Subway feet, not fresh. Yeah, no joke. Let's read the article. I would love to hear an explanation from Subway. What kind of nonsense is this? And the fact that you're feeding this to your people, you've got to know that this isn't real fish.
It tastes like tuna, though. So why? What is in it? That's what I want to know.
Soy?
Maybe.
Yeah. But could you imagine if you're eating soy, or rather if you're allergic to whatever byproduct it is that they're feeding you?
Yeah.
But I'm probably sure that they've probably already thought of that, don't you think? If you have like a soy
They probably already put like an anti-allergen in.
No kidding.
Anti-allergen, anti-diarrheal. It's all like already
mixed in. It's like Monsanto kind of stuff.
It is. Eat fresh at Subway, but good luck eating fish if a news report on the sandwich chain's popular tuna sandwiches is to be believed. The New York Times sent frozen samples of... First of all, how do you come up with this idea? To send frozen samples of tuna meat to three different Los Angeles area Subway shops to a lab that specializes in fish testing in order to determine how much tuna is in the tuna sandwiches.
Oh my gosh.
This just shows how much the media misses Donald Trump. They have nothing to report on.
They're like,
Let's send some fish to labs. The world's largest Subway chain is caught in the middle of a class action suit in California that claims the popular tuna subs are completely bereft of tuna as an ingredient. So the Times decided to analyze the sandwich's main ingredient. The Subway tuna samples were run through a $500 PCR or polymerase chain reaction test, which detects genetic material. Where was that? There. From a specific organism by making millions or billions of copies from a DNA sample. The lab was looking for a trace of one of 5 tuna species, including the skipjack and yellowfin, which Subway's tuna and seafood sourcing statement says are used in its sandwiches. Continue. No amplifiable tuna DNA was present in the sample. Lab report quoted the New York Times. The result, no amplify... Okay. Therefore, we cannot identify the species.
What?
So what is it? They can't even identify the species.
I can't even believe that.
While the story was published over the weekend and went viral on Twitter on Wednesday morning, Subway was trending with around 60,000 tweets and many discussing the tuna report. Continue. Can't decide on dinner? Flip a coin. Heads Subway, tails flip again. So like, what's really in that tuna? Continue. As someone who turned a $5 foot-long Subway tuna sandwich into 2 lunches several times a week as an assistant making $30,000 a year in NYC, after college, I am disturbed, tweeted one customer, expressing a sentiment that seemed to be shared by many other Subway sandwich eaters. Tuna subs are a customer favorite, after all, and many Americans can't get enough of the lean canned protein. About 700 million cans of tuna were sold in the U.S. over the past year, according to Nielsen. A Subway spokesperson told MarketWatch via email that DNA testing is an unreliable way to identify denatured proteins or proteins whose characteristic properties change due to heat or acidity, such as the way Subway's tuna was cooked before it was served on a sandwich. I see. Okay, so that's their excuse. And then later tested by the Times. Continue. Unfortunately, various media outlets have confused the inability of DNA testing to confirm a specific protein with the determination that the protein is not present, the Subway rep wrote. The testing that the New York Times report references does not show that there is not tuna in Subway's tuna. All it says is that the testing could not confirm tuna, which is what one would expect from a DNA test of denatured proteins. The fact is, Subway restaurants serve 100% wild-caught, cooked tuna, which is mixed with mayonnaise and used in freshly made sandwiches, wraps, salads that are served to and enjoyed by our guests. Subway restaurants serve 100% wild-caught cooked tuna, Subway spokesperson.
Interesting that so what they're saying is just basically just a different take on science.
Yeah, that because of the way it was cooked or whatever, that it like, destroyed those proteins, and so that's why they couldn't find them.
Trust the science. You can literally force science to tell you whatever the heck you want. Subway, however, is not a publicly traded company. Did you know that?
Subway?
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
Subway is owned by a private company called, get this,
Tuna.
Doctors Associates. So you can't actually buy stock in Subway itself, but Doctors Associates. No! Here's the thing.
That scared me.
The fact, I actually believe that they're probably telling the truth with a company that owns them by the name of Doctors Associates. I'm sure they're altering all kinds of meats.
Yeah. All plant-based, beyond meat, beyond tuna.
Well, if you really think about it, so they've been a very successful food chain for a while. Okay, it's the biggest sub restaurant in the world.
Yeah.
So then you have to tinker with your product in order to, just like McDonald's ended up doing, adding that chemical that makes you not nauseous or makes you not nauseous. They inject their burgers with something that like is basically anti-nausea.
Yeah. And
so you have to do that at that level. You have to do something with your meats to be able to certify that you're going to get the same kind of meat. Because think about it, when you get like a turkey sub at Subway, it always tastes the same. It's not like, but you can't do that at your own home if you go to a different deli.
That is true.
The turkey always tastes a little bit different. But for whatever reason, it always tastes exactly the same. So I'm sure that they've fine-tuned.
It's all lab-grown.
It is, really. Literally. Lab-grown meats. Ooh.
All right, next. Credit Suisse predicts global growth of 5.9% for 2021, says stocks to outperform other asset classes. Let's read the article. Swiss investment bank Credit Suisse expects global growth to accelerate in the coming months as countries gradually reopen their economies, leading to a recovery in revenue growth and rehiring. Continue. In its investment outlook for the second half of 21, Credit Suisse predicted the world economy will grow 5.9% this year and 4% in 2022. That growth will be led by vaccine rollouts, fiscal stimulus, and a broadening services recovery. It also said the United States is set to grow at a rate of 6.9% this year, and the Eurozone is expected to expand by 4.2%, while Asia, excluding Japan, is predicted to grow 7.5%. Economic expansion will likely lead to a sharp recovery in global earnings growth that is set to fuel the stock market, according to Ray Ferris, Chief Investment Officer for South Asia at Credit Suisse. We are looking for equities to be the asset class that is going to outperform over the next 6 months to a year, Ferris told CNBC's Squawk Box Asia on Thursday. As long as earnings continue to trend higher, history suggests that equities will grind their way up. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Stocks will be the best performing according to Credit Suisse. We'll see what happens next.
Talking about the Swiss, did you see that the first female I think she's a manager, was hired at Pictet.
Pictet didn't see the private bank? Uh-huh. I did not know that.
First time in 216 years.
Seriously? Mm-hmm. The
First
Swiss are
female.
lagging behind.
Yeah.
Somebody cancel him real quick. Go on Twitter.
All right, Elon Musk.
This is interesting. Elon Musk says Starlink will go public. You remember in Arizona when we saw those UFOs?
Can you explain to the people what happened? Let me try to see if I can pull up the picture.
So we were driving down.
What happened? Who was there with us?
It was Brennan, Stephanie, Jess.
Is Brennan back there?
Brennan, are you back there? He was there.
Okay.
Who else was there? Jess, Stephanie, Brennan, Elena, you and I.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And we're driving back from the Grand Canyon, and there's this. It was like really dark out, no lights, whatever. So I was looking out the window, and I'm like, man, I haven't seen this many stars since I was a kid in Africa. So I asked Evangelist, I was like, can you pull over so I can get out and look at the stars? So she did. She pulls over on the side of the road.
Nobody had seen the Milky Way at that point.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of us that had never seen it. And in this particular place right outside of Scottsdale, right?
No, it was right from the Grand Canyon, like
right
on that road
outside of
back to the
Grand
highway.
Canyon. Okay.
Yeah.
So there is just no kind of light pollution whatsoever. In fact, if you go even to Scottsdale, everything is like dimly lit. It's so hard with my, as I get older. I was like feeling my way through the town. It was like so dark. But anyways, they do that purposefully just so that there's like, it lowers the light pollution.
Yeah.
So we just pull over. Does anybody have the picture? Do you have it on your phone?
I don't know.
So we pull over.
Do you have it, Nick? Nick has it.
Show me, Nick. Pull it up. And go ahead. And it was the scariest thing we ever did see. I literally thought we were looking at UFOs. It was a line of what looked like stars, shooting stars. But it was like perfectly formed, right? It was just one
looked like
long
UFOs,
line.
yeah. Just appearing and then disappearing.
They were all in line, like that. And then they would move. Like the first one would move, like a shooting star, and then disappear. And then the second one would move and then disappear. And of course, we were like, Jesus is coming back.
Yeah,
UFOs, what are we doing? It was scary.
Yeah.
So that's going public. That's Starlink, which is, we ended up finding out that they are actually satellites that Elon Musk.
For starting for internet.
Okay, yeah, because he wants 5G? Is it like a 5G kind of thing?
It's to bring internet basically to the globe.
Okay.
So that everybody can have access to the internet. And you don't have to use like towers and all that other stuff. It can just be from satellites.
Totally fascinating.
Yeah. There we go.
Okay, so there you go.
That's what we saw. Just a perfect line.
Somebody took that. Was that you, Nick? Yeah. Literally a perfect line of just like shooting stars.
That's what it looks like. That's like.
So we, of course, thought, great, we're getting invaded. And Joe Rogan was right. All right, so he's going public with this, huh?
Yeah. Alex Jones had been warning us for years.
I remember the look on everyone's face. It was like, what are we going to do?
I was in shock. I was like, oh, are you kidding me? The one place that we pull over and there's UFOs.
Seriously, yeah. So I'm glad that I was able to pull up the picture real quick and find out what it was.
Yeah.
Because it would have been a very quiet ride. What a bizarre ride. On the same car ride. We're driving. I mean, it was like a 4-hour ride home.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? We're driving on the highway and there's a police chase right in front of us. There's a line of 6 police officers and this one black Corolla. And it's on like just rims at this point. So it's literally driving the highway, sparks everywhere, and then it goes over 4 lanes of traffic to go. I mean, it was such a bizarre trip. Anyways.
The only thing that would have made it better if we saw Sasquatch or Bigfoot.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah, that would have been.
We were looking for him. We were at that point. We were like, just put your windows down. We're gonna see something. All right, go.
Elon Musk says Starlink will go public when its cash flow is more predictable.
What does that mean?
Because right now it's still like in a research and development phase. They're still putting satellites up. There's not a lot of people that have it. I just saw a documentary not too long ago on a region in Washington State where there's a lot of Native Americans, and they were using it. So instead of them, because they all had to were like on lockdown and couldn't go back to work in their companies.
Okay.
And so they were using Starlink because there's no internet where they are, like hardly any internet. They get like one bar or whatever on this like remote part of Washington State. And so they were using Starlink, and it really helped them to get online, do school for the kids, and do their work
That's wild.
from home.
All right. Starlink is Starlink. Do we have the article? Read it.
Tesla and SpaceX CEO Elon Musk says he will only publicly list satellite broadband service Starlink when its cash flow is more predictable. Starlink, which is currently operated by space exploration firm SpaceX, allows people to connect to the internet via a satellite dish that is placed on or near their property. The internet is beamed down to the dish via Starlink satellites that have been put into orbit by SpaceX. Going public sooner than that would be very painful, Musk said in a tweet late Wednesday. Will do my best to give long-term Tesla shareholders preference. The billionaire's tweet came after a Twitter user asked him, any thoughts on Starlink IPO? We would love to invest in the future. Any thoughts on first dibs for Tesla retail investors? SpaceX President Gwynne Shotwell said last year that Starlink could be spun off from SpaceX for initial public offering, which I think would be a good company to invest in if you can get in on the IPO, because I'm pretty sure that that'll be like a darling stock that everybody wants to invest in.
Yeah, for real.
Next. This is interesting. Founders of South African Bitcoin exchange disappear after $3.6 billion hack.
What? This is so the plot thickens.
See the article? Cryptocurrency investors in South Africa may have lost nearly $3.6 billion in Bitcoin following the disappearance of two brothers associated with one of the country's largest cryptocurrency exchanges. According to Bloomberg, a law firm in Cape Town says it can't locate Amir and Reyes Kaji, the founders of AfriCrypt. In April, the exchange told its investors that it was the victim of a hack and asked them not to report the incident to authorities on account it would slow down the process of recovering their missing money. Some of those... Why would you not contact authorities? Some of those involved in the exchange hired Hanekom attorneys. The law firm said it couldn't find the two brothers to investigate the incident. It found that someone had withdrawn AfriCrypt's pooled funds from the local accounts and client wallets where the coins were stored originally and put them through tumblers and mixers, making it difficult, though not impossible, to trace the money. AfriCrypt employees lost access to the back-end platform 7 days before the alleged hack, the law firm told Bloomberg. The outlet attempted to call both Kaji brothers multiple times, only to get their voicemail each time. Complicating any recovery attempt is that South Africa's finance sector conduct authority can't launch a formal investigation in the incident because cryptocurrency isn't legally considered a financial product in the country. If no one can recover the money, it will go down as the largest cryptocurrency loss in history, easily overshadowing the approximately 200 million Canadian dollars that disappeared when the founder of Canada's Quadriga CX exchange died while traveling in India. Isn't that crazy?
So what do you think? I mean, how does it just go vanishing? It's 3.6 billion in Bitcoin.
They obviously put it in some accounts and then they went missing.
So you can do that. And
if you own the exchange, I'm sure there's some way for you to do that if it's not regulated. That's why it's very important for you to be on like an exchange that you can trust, like Coinbase, Uphold, some of those that are more reputable.
Doug says this isn't the first time that this has happened. But that is the biggest kind of like heist of Bitcoin. That's a lot of Bitcoin.
3.6 billion.
Are there photos of these two guys?
I don't know. Are there?
Was there pictures attached to that or no?
AfriCrypt? No.
All right. Next.
Google and Facebook pressure falls short as antitrust measures advance in House committee. Tech companies to take the battle over the proposed new regulations and oversight to the House floor and Senate. So this is moving along further end quicker than I thought it would. But I think it's because public perception has turned against these companies and the politicians need to do something about it. Let's see the article. A House committee approved far-reaching legislation to curb the market dominance of tech giants, including Alphabet Inc.'s Google and Facebook, but much of the effort faced intensive lobbying by affected firms and slowed the committee's work and foreshadowed a pitched battle in the Senate. The centerpiece of the six-bill package, a measure to bar big tech companies from favoring their own products in a range of circumstances on their platforms, was approved early Thursday by a vote of 24 to 20. Known as the American Choice and Innovation Online Act, the legislation would prohibit big platforms from engaging in conduct that advantages their own products or services or disadvantages other business users, or discriminates amongst similarly situated business users. Another measure pressed late Wednesday requires that the largest internet platforms make it easier for users to transport that data to other platforms and even communicate with users on other platforms. The bill, known as Augmenting Compatibility and Competition by Enabling Service Switching or Access Act. They need to come up with some longer names. Would give the Federal Trade Commission extensive new powers to set individualized standards for the tech giants. It passed 25 to 19. Continue. The bills must pass the full House, where the timetable for bringing them to the floor for final votes remains unclear, maybe like 10, 12 years from now. The package would affect large tech firms, including Google, Facebook, Apple, and Amazon. The debate over the House Judiciary legislation started Wednesday morning and continued into Thursday morning as Republicans and some Democrats raised concerns and floated amendments. Two other less controversial bills were also adopted, one raising federal fees on corporate merger reviews and another one, okay, all right, so good. So it's moving along, which could be a risk if you own any of these companies. What do you think? You think this stuff is going to pass or no?
Who the heck knows? I hate big tech. It's just, I refuse to put any of my money into it. Do you have any of this stock?
No. I saw Amazon. I have Amazon.
Amazon, that's right. You that was part of your, what was it? High risk or?
It was low risk.
It was low risk.
Amazon is the Standard Oil of this generation. Because I just saw an article the other day that there's an Amazon wind farm in Texas.
What?
They have their fingers in everything. It's
They
crazy.
do. I mean, they have buku bucks
Yeah.
to be able to do that. But you know what they don't have? A likable CEO. So,
How far is that petition? How many signatures?
let me pull it up.
The petition to see if Jeff Bezos is allowed to return to Earth after his.
Jeff Bezos.
And the markets are way up today.
I know.
The Dow Jones 0.85%, NASDAQ 0.74%, S&P 0.61%. Looks like it's going to be a good day in the markets.
Where is it?
Did they take it down?
I can't see it. Hang on, let me see. So where was it last time?
It was 7,000, then 12,000.
More than 70,000.
70,000 signatures now. My goodness. All right, next. The Bank of International Settlements, the central bank of central banks. Cryptocurrencies are often used in financial crimes, money laundering, and ransomware attacks. It's crazy that this bank that is based in Switzerland would talk about money laundering and financial crimes after every single dictator in history has had Swiss bank accounts.
No kidding.
Let's see the article. I love Switzerland, by the way. It's a beautiful country.
It really is.
The Bank of International Settlements says it is now clear that cryptocurrencies are not money, but speculative assets, emphasizing that in many cases they are used to facilitate money laundering, ransomware attacks, and other financial crimes. The Bank of International Settlements published its annual economic report Wednesday discussing cryptocurrencies, particularly Bitcoin, as well as central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. The BIS explained that several recent developments have placed a number of potential innovations involving digital currencies high on the agenda. They don't want to miss out of central banks. This is the first of these is the growing attention received by Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. The second is the debate on stablecoins. And the third is the entry of large technology firms into payment services and financial services more generally, the BIS continued. And continue. By now, it's clear that cryptocurrencies are speculative assets rather than money, and in many cases are used to facilitate money laundering, ransomware attacks, and other financial crimes. The report also discusses stablecoins, asserting that they are only as good as the governance behind the promise of the backing. The BIS noted that these coins have the potential to fragment the liquidity of the monetary system and detract from the role of money as a coordination device. Turning its attention to Bitcoin, the largest cryptocurrency, the BIS said Bitcoin in particular has few redeeming public interest attributes when also considering its wasteful energy footprint. Yes. The report discusses CBDCs in detail, stating that central banks are fully engaged in the development of retail and wholesale CBDCs alongside other innovations to enhance conventional payment systems. So cryptocurrencies are speculative assets that are used for money laundering, and CBDCs are not. It's basically the same thing. Continue. The BIS concluded to realize the full potential of CBDCs for more efficient cross-border payments, international collaboration will be paramount. Cooperation on CBDC designs will also open up new ways for central banks to counter foreign currency substitution and strengthen monetary sovereignty. Next.
Doug says, I always laugh when they say cryptocurrency is used for money laundering. US dollar isn't. Banks don't launder US dollars for cartels. It's true. One of the things that I thought was really interesting about that article was they talked about stablecoin. And Tether is considered to be a stablecoin.
Yes.
And we're as we're going into this wormhole of Tether information, we're starting to realize that it's just out of control.
It is.
I have, and Doug, I guess, the more you look into crypto, the more shady it gets. To me, I have no idea how they're going to be able to clamp down on that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
If Tether can say that they are worth, what is it? What's their $137 billion?
Yeah, whatever. Huge amounts.
An insane amount. But then their IMDb shows that there's 13 employees.
Yep.
We looked up yesterday.
Office in Portland or Seattle, or wherever it is.
Their office had changed 3 different times since the litigation scandal in New York that New York brought on them.
Yeah.
And then right now they have Seattle, an address in Seattle as their address. And when you look up the address, it's some podunk, like nail salon.
Yeah.
It's very, very strange.
If I was a $143 billion company, I'd have a skyscraper somewhere with my name on it.
Well, of course you would. Of course you would. But you know what I'm saying?
Like every other financial company.
So Tether, explain to the people who don't know what Tether is.
Tether is a
in your best way, because seriously, it's very difficult to. Yeah.
So Tether is a stable coin, which means that it stays stable. So it's like $1 US.
Okay, so in 2016 they told people that for every one stable coin there was $1 US to back
so they're
it up.
Backed.
So it's backed 1-to-1.
Yeah, it's backed 1-to-1.
Right, correct.
Yes. So Tether is backed 1-to-1 by US dollars.
Right.
Which means that if $142 billion in Bitcoin is put into Tether, they'll have $142 billion in US dollars to back it up.
Sure. That was the idea.
That was the idea. But if that and then they just released something that, oh no, not all of it is in US dollars. They've got some corporate assets, bonds, and debt and other things that is actually backing this. But they haven't really released good information, and they have been skirting audits. So they do not want to be audited, which if somebody does not want to be audited, it means that there's something wrong. It's like is it the Federal Reserve? Whoever it is.
Federal Reserve.
The United States gold reserves. They don't want to be audited, which tells me that, maybe all of the gold in there is
gone.
It's either gone or it's not the amount that they're saying they have. Mm-hmm. So if you're up front, have your company be audited. let it be audited. If you're not upfront, if there's something that you have to hide, then obviously you don't want an audit.
Sure. Right. So they
Yeah.
were fined $20 million for lying to the public.
Yes.
And so what they ended up finding was that it's not a 1-to-1 ratio, that it's more like they have a 2% cash flow.
Yeah.
And then the rest are other assets.
Yeah.
And so it was very vague. They were supposed to keep up with this by basically giving a quarterly audit, and which was due May 19th.
Yeah.
And 0 audits have been filed.
It's because they don't have the assets to back it up.
Of course
They're
not.
just saying they do.
But then when we
Because
saw
they would be
this
one of the
jump-
most valuable companies in the world at that point.
For sure. But nobody knows where it is. Nobody knows who runs it, etc. And then what you start seeing is that the Bitcoin is doing quite well again.
Yeah.
But there was a huge dump. So what does that mean? Tether dumped a whole bunch of money into Bitcoin. And then lo and behold, Bitcoin is doing great again.
Yeah.
Very strange. So it's like the crypto inflation kind of thing.
Yeah. They
Very
print,
bizarre.
Doug says, so they print Tether and buy Bitcoin to buy back the Tether that they just printed.
Because that makes perfect sense.
Yes. Well, we'll need to have Doug on to explain this a little bit more. But it's confusing. And when I was reading through the articles, I was like, man, what the heck is going on? Tether to me is a giant risk when it comes to the crypto market.
Well, it not only is it a giant risk, by what I'm reading, it's what's going to cripple Bitcoin. So, Canada Doe says stablecoins are cryptos backed by real assets, but says who?
Yeah, what are the real assets?
Correct.
Then
what are they?
let your company be audited and show us that there's actually assets that back it.
Correct, because if you go to the Tether account now, or the Tether website, they took that down quietly in 2019, that it was a 1-to-1 ratio.
Yeah.
And then they ended up putting, there's it's backed by other assets.
Yeah.
What other assets are you talking about?
Let your company be audited and then show us the assets.
Facts. But then they start doing all this crazy stuff, pumping money into into Bitcoin and all that kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden Bitcoin, oh look, it's back above 30,000, and it's crazy.
All right, next.
Who cares, Jamie? Just go to bed.
Winnebago sees record market sales as millennials enter the RV market.
Yeah!
Millennials are entering the RV market.
I'm telling you,
they want to get
it
off the
is-
grid.
This is the reason why I can't find a freaking RV.
Yep,
because
that's
these
right.
millennials are
They're
snagging
buying them up.
It's happening.
See the article. A rise in demand and diversifying market for recreational vehicles has led to Winnebago delivering a record level number of RVs, according to its CEO, Michael Happ. Continue. Oh, Happ said just below, go back. That's what I was looking for. Happ said just below 10% of Winnebago customers are under the age of 30 and looking for an off-the-grid experience during an interview on Varney and Company. We're seeing more and more engagement and ownership by millennials and Gen Xers, especially for products that can get them off the grid. Adventure RVs, where they want to explore the bike trails and the streams. So this is why you can't find an RV, because they're all sold out.
I know. Or they're like incredibly overpriced.
Yeah.
But whatever. Look at it. What kind of RV is that?
Looks like
Looks like
that
something
Dodge
European.
Ram van or whatever with the RV body on it.
That's amazing. Seriously, that's me every single time I see an RV. What?
I would rather there just be like a hotel room and that's like my balcony
Oh,
view
come
without the
on.
RV.
Holy, look, well, you could attach a bike or two onto it. Man, that's the life right there. That's living. Next.
U.S. initial jobless claims are higher than estimates at 411,000. So this week again, higher than estimates. See the article. Applications for U.S. state unemployment insurance fell slightly last week, though they were higher than forecast as the labor market meanders towards a full recovery. Initial claims in regular state programs decreased by 7,000 to 411,000 in the week ended June 19th. Labor Department data showed Thursday the median estimate in a Bloomberg survey of economists called for 380,000 new applications. The prior week's claims were revised up to 418,000. So there's 411,000. Missed it again, so we'll see what happens. All right, let's do the stocks to research today. For low.
All right, so we're going to do the 3 stocks to research on your own time. Do your due diligence. Don't just buy. I've learned the hard way. And so what's your low-risk stock of the day? Go.
It's VV, Vanguard Large Cap Index Fund ETF shares. The investment seeks to track the performance of the CRSP U.S. Large Cap Index, measures the return of large capitalization stocks. It's a blend of U.S. large cap stocks, has a small dividend, 1.59%, has had a return of around 10% since inception in 2004, Morningstar rating of 5 stars. It's expensive right now, but that's because the market are at all-time highs. Yep, still up. But if there is a downturn, you can add more and average down. Overall, judging by history, you should get pretty good solid returns on funds like this. Medium F, Ford Motor Company, manufacturer of vehicles, price target of $18 plus
Ford.
by a number of analysts. Right now it's at $15. There's still a little bit of wiggle room there. I think that the more good news comes out on this company, the more it's going to keep going up. But it is a medium risk. I think we already might have already missed out on most of the gains there, but I think there's still a little bit to make, a little bit of money to make there. Then the high risk, BlackBerry.
Oh, come on. Is this a meme stock?
The Wall Street bros are talking about it. And today is earnings after the market, so we'll see what
my
happens. It's either going to skyrocket
Gosh.
or it's going to drop. So do you want to buy some call options, some put options?
How is it going to skyrocket? What is BlackBerry doing?
That's what they're saying. Because it's a meme stock. People are like hyping it
So
up.
then it doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter what.
No, because they're all talking about earnings there.
Right.
You know, because they're...
But I mean, if they're already hyping it up, then who cares about earnings? Because what if the earnings comes back and
If the
it's
earnings
terrible?
are bad, if the earnings are terrible, I'm pretty sure the stock's going to go down. Because they're not the only ones that are invested in it.
I think Steph is in BlackBerry. Are you doing it?
// is saying, trust the meme. You want in on BlackBerry. Trust the meme. Diamond hands, everybody. Buy into BlackBerry and then diamond hands. LKCO has done pretty good.
Are you doing the BlackBerry?
No. I've got burned way too many times on earnings, buying calls and puts on earnings that I don't mess with earnings a lot anymore unless it's like solid, like I know for a fact.
I'm feeling very tempted to do this.
To buy BlackBerry?
Mm-hmm. But it just keeps dropping, so I wonder how much more it's going to keep going down.
Trust the meme, Magals.
It's such poor advice. Can you give us a good tip of the day? Give us some good advice, Patrick.
Okay.
I'm going to do it, though. I think I'm going to buy the BlackBerry. What do I got to lose?
That's just basically this is like serious like gambling. Meme like you mean it.
Oh, I hate when these meme stocks, man, they get me.
Poor advice is the best advice.
Oh no.
I'm up in LKCO. Bought Ford yesterday.
Investing in BlackBerries like drunk gambling.
For real.
I still might do it and just see what happens for tomorrow's show.
Okay. Go for it. It might spike 700%. Who knows? You never know.
Nah, you just said that. It's not going to spike.
All right.
Is this going to be the biggest regret of my life?
Possibly.
What if it does?
That depends on how much money you put into it. If you put all your net worth into it, like some people on Wall Street Bets have, put their kids' college fund in it.
Stupid. No, I'm not going to do it. I'm not. I just, this is part of, I need to just control my emotion. All right. What's your tip of the day?
Okay. Tip of the day. Instead. Oh, yeah. Tip of the day. Instead of making a savings goal of $100, $200, $1,000, whatever it is per month, if you make it daily and automate it, if your bank has that feature, only $5, $10, $20 a day that you put into savings, like automatically. According to studies, this was the most effective way to save money. And most people are still doing it after 3 months.
Wow.
Whereas a lot of people drop off. I think it was like 11% that dropped off. And that was the lowest drop off that they had out of everyone. If you do it on a weekly, it's a little bit better. And if you do it on a monthly, people most of the time don't reach, if they're not, disciplined enough with their finances, they don't reach their monthly savings goal. So if you can do it on a daily basis, you'll have much better chances of hitting those savings goal.
I read a good book. It's called Automatic Millionaire.
Yep,
and it basically, that's the premise, is that basically automating as
everything.
much as you can.
Yeah.
To be able to get your, so you have only one little pool to select from with your cash flow.
Yeah.
So that everything else is automatically just taken out. Because a lot of people just need that. You know, like if they have their hands in the pot, it just messes everything up. So if doing the automatic thing is like that, you can do that on any bank. Just basically
most
a couple
most
of bucks
banks
a day.
where you can automate, where it automatically comes out every single day. If not, you just might have to do it, but then be disciplined about it and do it every single day.
That's awesome.
Because $10 a day doesn't seem like a lot, but then if, $300 a month, now you're already in the hundreds, so that might
Be a little bit more scary. Awesome.
Exactly.
Great tip of the day. There you have it, ladies and gents. If you
How much is BlackBerry? I'll look it up right now.
$13
$13.
a share. BlackBerry will come back with a vengeance one day when I have urge to order out, make myself go cook what I have to send and saved to Robinhood of cash. Good for you.
Yeah.
When I have an urge to order out, I order out. I make sure it counts. I'm like, is this going to cost me $250? Fine. Great show today. Thanks for taking time. Okay, listen. If you have not yet partnered with Revival Today, now is your chance, and you can get this amazing mug. Let's do it again. As our gift for saying thank you. If you're on Facebook, #donate. If you want to text to give, text RT to 50155. If you're using Cash App, it's $RT Give, Venmo RT Give. PayPal is revivaltoday.com/PayPal. And of course, we're accepting cryptocurrency. So go ahead and scan the code. If that's your, that's the best way to give for you. Or go to revivaltoday.com/give. You also have one last option, and that is to mail a check. Send it to Revival Today, P.O. Box 7, Prosperity, PA 15329. And don't forget, if you want that lovely mug, you can't forget this final step, revivaltoday.com/offer to claim your gift. Bill Sheets, what was your question? We'll wait for Bill Sheets' question. Hopefully it'll be a good one, and then we will end the show. But there you have it, ladies and gents. Thanks for your partnership. We love you guys. Hugs, Lyric, Cammie, Bill, Jamie, Eric, Matthias. IZRL has been on a constant climb, Matthias says. We will take a look at that. How much LKO stock should I buy?
I was actually looking at this morning. The Arc Israel Innovative Tech.
Really?
I'm gonna have to. I came across it and I wrote it down.
What do they
but
do?
I need to. It's just an ETF that has a bunch of Israeli tech companies in it.
I'm all about the Israeli companies. You know me. How much should
How much LKCO stock?
Bill Sheets buy?
I never put more than 5% of my portfolio in a single stock. So if I think it's going to be really good, a really good long-term investment, really good stock, I never put more than 5% of my total portfolio into any single stock.
There you have it.
You know, if you can put 1,000 and put 1,000 in, see how it goes.
What was the company that you said was blacklisted and then unblacklisted?
That was that company.
That was the company right
Yeah.
there. Canada Doe. Bob Drain would like for you to put together a list of top 10 cryptos because in the world of crypto, it's kind of hard to get to the bottom of.
Yeah, it really is because there's so many of them.
There's so many of them. It's just so dang shady.
Yeah. And
That's probably
I'll
why
talk to
Doug
Doug,
has chosen like XRP is because they have like a better structure than most.
They do, and they have connections or they have partnerships and relationships with a lot of companies.
Yeah. Yeah. Won't be a bad idea, Eric. Buy more XRP. All right, ladies and gents, that has been it for the show. Next up at 11 a.m. is going to be Revival Today. In fact, Jonathan is on stereo right now with Pastor Rodney Howard Brown. So if you need some awesome entertainment, please watch or listen to their stereo live now. But we have a broadcast at 11 a.m. followed by another broadcast with Mrs. Maddie Ortiz at 4 p.m. And of course, every night we end with Check the News at 11. We will see you tomorrow morning. Good night.
See you, everybody.
I don't even know what date.